righty. So the fun factoid about that song, it is from 1980. I was a senior in high school back in the 1900s, and the movie that that song is affiliated with is Xanadu, which I fell in love with. I was a big Olivia Newton-John fan, and that song, when I hear the word vitality and life, I was like, "Oh, I'm playing a little ELO tonight, Electric Light Orchestra." So, if that sounded familiar to you, maybe you've heard it in the grocery store shopping. But the joy of that one is that 20 years after Xanadu came out, I actually sat with my 6-year-old daughter and introduced her to it, and, that was kind of our go-to movie for sick days, the tonsillectomy day. That was our comfort movie together, so it's very special. I wanted to share that. Tonight, welcome to your weekly setup. You've got Katie and Jennifer, Team Texas, on the call again. Katie and I would say it's a Team Texas kind of weekend, even though it's Team Texas via Scotland for Katie. She did this morning's monthly setup. I'm doing a weekly setup tonight, and then tomorrow night, if you want some more Team Texas, Katie will be in front of the camera, and I'll be providing support in the chat. So we are excited that we get to work together this weekend. So yes, Susan, thank you for saying so. I got a new do this afternoon, and I just feel like, it's a new me. I love a haircut. It had been way too long. Anyway, thank you for noticing. So it is really great to see you. I've said it at my monthly setups. I'm super stoked about vitality this month. It's kind of, I should say it's not really my word of the year. My word of the year this year is abide. Abide, just sit with it. But everything I do now is framed around vitality. So maybe this is my season of vitality, this kind of latter chapters, because I do ask myself, how can I stay vital? How does this contribute to my vitality? Moving my body in different ways, eating differently, so yeah, oh, it's my era of vitality. So I'm super pumped. Thanks for that, Kimberly L. I'm grabbing onto it. And I love y'all know Martha Graham, the dance gal. I love this quote. There's a vitality, a life force, an energy, a quickening that is translated through you into action. And because there is only one of you in all time, this expression is unique. Oh, that's such a beautiful way of thinking about vitality. So, Meha's letter, please be sure to read it if you weren't encouraged to, if you didn't hit up a monthly setup yet. And you may be catching a recording or whatever. We always encourage you to read her letter. And she writes about that balance of, there's vitality in the restoration stuff we do, the rest we do, the slow movements, as well as the energy givers and that fired up feeling. And so I have these two slides to kind of or two images on this slide to kind of recognize and call that out. I love this ASAP graphic about taking which as slow as possible, as soft as possible, as sustainable as. Isn't that a beautiful way to frame that out? If you see anything on any of these slides tonight, be sure that you grab a screenshot, and you might want to pop it into your journal. So I like thinking about that vitality through that lens, but also through the things that give us that energy. And there's that graphic over there with all the good things we can do for our self-care. We're actually going to kick off our time together looking at that little bit of self-care that we do. So I neglected to ask, is there anybody visiting here for the very, very first time? I'm seeing a ton of our regulars, as I like to say, our Sonder family. If you are brand new here, please drop a me in the chat because we would all love to say hello to you. Make sure that chat says to everyone because I'm the only one on camera and I'm the only voice you hear, other than the music. Make sure that You have set that chat to everyone because we do communicate that way and we like to share. So Tammy said, me. Hi, Tammy. We're glad you're here. This is our accountability group. I love these appointments with this community and with our journals because it helps us, stay focused on the journal, using it to its full glory, right? Sometimes it's you're sitting there and you're like, yeah, I don't know what to do with all these pages. And so we get lots of inspiration from one another. So I'm going to show you lots of ways to repurpose these spaces, and then folks will be sharing in the chat. So we're glad you're here. All righty. So we are going to, the routine. You folks who've been here a long time, we're going to look at that vitality mind map. We're going to do a rosebud thorn reflection over last week, and then we're going to get those weekly setup pages done. And I've done a couple of different things tonight just to change things up a bit. So stay tuned. Here we go. Um, Tammy's new. There might be some others of you who are out there who didn't drop a me in the chat. Because you came to a weekly setup, we do a mind map. It's a bonus prompt every single week. It will be 4 different looks at our monthly theme. These are not found in your journal. And again, you catch these when you come to these weekly setups. Just again, another way to dig into the theme to get to know ourselves better. All righty, so y'all know I'm going crazy with the cookie cutters, right? So last month, I used my heart cookie cutter to set up my mind map on the very last page of the journal. Thank you to facilitator Bailey, who says that's the quickest way to find it. I'm going to invite you to find a notes page in your journal, or maybe you'll use your weekly scratch pad and you'll do each week on that week spread. You might have a little sidekick journal that you keep your extras in. Maybe you put that there. You could use the quote page on page 38 and kind of, take 4 spaces there, but there will be 4 weeks worth of reflection. And I was gonna grab my shamrock, but it was itty bitty. So I went and got this flower one. And this week I used paint. I'm going nuts with these cookie cutters. So I just put a little paint on a little dish and went doop and put those cookie cutter shapes there because it's kind of fun. Now, you can also just draw like a big plus in your page and divide it into 4. I don't know why I am the way I am, but this is the one page that I kind of get into other than the coloring page. Everything else is black pen and plain paper. Oh, washi tape is a great suggestion, Andrea. Yeah, just drop that washi tape across there. So, yeah. So I did flowers. So I want you to find that blank page or the place that you're going to be doing this bonus prompt. And we are looking through the lens of vitality. The word vitality, the base of that, it means life, vita. So this month we're going to be digging into life. And week 1 is emotional vitality. And the question that we're considering is, how do you recharge emotionally after a draining day? What practices help you feel more balanced? And I'm going to go through these slides back and forth as you work on this prompt. But I thought before we answer this prompt, I think it's also important to kind of take our pulse. Where are we? Because, if you are down there, I'm really struggling to take care of my needs and be kind to myself. Taking 5 minutes with a face mask probably isn't going to be what you need right now. If you're thriving and you're feeling great and all of your needs are being met, that face mask might be the perfect thing that you need. So I think it's real important to pay a real close minute of attention to where we are gauging. Now, when I come back to this slide, when y'all are working on this, yes, I was going to ask you, drop your heart. Where are you right now? Are you a blue heart? Are you pretty good, but you could use some time to recharge a bit? Or are you a yellow heart where you're feeling really stressed out and in need of me time? We're going to get a pulse on that. And I'm gonna come back to this. So while we're working on this, you can continue to drop your hearts because I know you won't see the legend. So if you listened to the daily ritual today, one of the questions in there is, how do you honor your energy in the way that works for you? And recognize that small moments of care and intention can spark big shifts in how alive you feel. And so I've got this great little graphic from Instagram. It's an old Instagram post from Silk and Sonder. It's 17 things that you can do to kind of reset. I'll share mine in just a sec. But I also have this 50 ways to take a break. So you may be sitting there saying, I feel this certain way and I don't even know where to start. That's key. You've got to have like a little menu, a little bank of things that you know you can turn to. So if you need help with that, drop that in the chat. Ask, share with one another, what do you do to kind of get that little reset when you're the day is taking it from you. Some of the things I do, I love looking at photos, right? I get my phone and I just scroll through my photos. Some of it is stuff that y'all have posted in Sonder Club, and I've done a screenshot, and those things are just my boost, right? It's not doom scroll. I don't consider that doom scrolling. I love a hot shower with low lighting. That just kind of I don't always turn those lights low, but like it just helps me settle. Slow, mindful walk, not a walk to get my steps, but one to breathe, to notice, to look at the trees, to see the things that are growing. Um, I give myself permission for mindless scrolling. Sometimes I just want to numb and it feels good. And so I give myself that permission. Yoga, breath work, let's see, resetting the kitchen, you know, just when I walk in the next morning, I'm like, oh, good job, Jennifer, previous Jennifer for morning Jennifer. And then sometimes just doing that quick task, that 1 minute or 3 minute little task that you do and you see a little result, like a decluttering, it just brings calm to the chaos. My clothes, I'm terrible about taking them off and laying them on the end of the bed, and just putting those up will be a good reset for me. So those are the first few things that came to my mind. I am going to put on some music while you set your mind map up. And also, while you kind of consider how you're going to answer this, drop your hearts. We want to know where you are. Take a pulse, figure out what you need right now and what you need when you have these great days, and also what you need when the days aren't so great. And let's just share and support. I'll be back to check in. Thank you all for sharing in the chat. Thank you for the support that you showed Catherine as she is in a season of grieving. And I know that there are others among us who are in that same space. I saw some names here, and I'm just glad to see you. And I'm glad that you've carved out this time to be with your Sonder community. And just a reminder, if you're in that space of thinking about, where am I, and taking that pulse on your self-care and what you need, go gently, go slowly, and give yourself the season to take care of you and how you process what you process. So I love that we kind of created this little menu, and some of the things are appetizers, just little bitty bits of, things that we can do for ourselves. And there's some things on here like good rest that would be considered an entree, right? Like the deep good stuff. So we always remind you to take what you need. So now we're going to do our rosebud thorn reflection. And I always like to think of this as well as that monthly reflection that we just did as an exercise in gratitude. And we all have roses, we all have thorns, and then we all have buds, these neat things that are to come. So I'll start with my thorn, the thing that didn't go well, the thing that just kind of caused like not the best week for me was just that I'm not prioritizing my nutrition needs like I was. I was doing so well before the holidays, and then it's out the window, and I've been kind of working on it, but it's just not going great. Um, Still pretty easy thorn to bear. But that was just something that's interrupted me being the best version of myself that I can be right now. So yeah, gonna leave that one behind. My bud is my husband's getting a new knee on Tuesday. And while I know it's gonna be tough on him, he has been in such pain for so long. And we're just excited about what this is going to mean for his vitality once he's healed. We'll be wash, rinse, and repeating in another 6 weeks. So, but I'm gonna have, he's gonna have new knees by summertime. And then my rose this week was just I've had lots of opportunities to connect with y'all, just the way the calendar fell and the availability of facilitators. And it just really makes me feel great to hang out with y'all and read that chat and just, oh, I'm so honored to be in your presence. And so it just has been really, really good for me. So thank you for that. I'm gonna put on a little music while you do your rosebud thorn reflection. You're gonna find this on page 30 and share as you're comfortable. And then we will get going with the rest of our setup. Thank you for working on the reflection from last week, finding gratitude in all the things. Maybe the lessons learned from the challenges and, that reminder that we survived every hard day we've had so far, right? And not I don't want to be Pollyanna, but I do think that we can seek to find beauty in the hard stuff of life, and that makes us strong and resilient. But we still have to be so good to ourselves and so gentle. So thank you for the support that you showed one another in the chat. Really, really appreciate that. Let's go ahead now and move forward into our setup. Right now, I would like you to turn to your page 8 and 9 and take a look at those things that you said you wanted to start, stop, and continue this month, as well as breeze over those March intentions. Put them back in the forefront of your thinking. And I want you to consider how these spaces that you set up for your in your monthly setup, how they can inform what you put down on paper this week in your weekly setup. So I found this great example. If this was from one of you a long time ago, it was buried in some of my files. Their to-do box is actually dedicated to their intention work. And so this is an example of really focusing on a couple of those intention areas in this particular week. So you can see physical health was a focus as well as money management. And so they took these two spaces on their intention page and they're being intentional with those intentions by putting it, informing their weekly goals, habits, activities from those intentions page. All righty. So yeah, and if you didn't do them, that's okay. Kimberly, I know you got this. You'll get to it later. But it's a reminder that, there's a reason we fill those out. And this is because I used to sit and think about these things and then I'd forget to look at them again. And they were beautiful on paper, and there is power in just putting them down. But I want to also have us think about, what does it look like to have an action plan? All righty. So now let's turn to page 32 and 33. And there is my page one, side A, if you will, for this week. And I'm just embracing this theme because I love, like I said, vitality. So I want to feel vitality this week. My to-dos, I'm actually doing ready for tomorrow as one of my activities, one of my habits and activities, because when I reset from this day and looking ahead to tomorrow, and that's every day has a tomorrow with it. So that's what I'm using my to-do space. I usually put to-dos there, but I'm kind of thinking about, what do I need to do every day for tomorrow, for that next tomorrow to come. And so I've got that tied into my habits and activities. And then my 3 focal points, I changed it from the word goals to focal points. I'm going to care for my husband. I'm going to make sure I'm embracing my creativity moments. And I'm going to be cultivating my garden. And I chose the word cultivating because I realized I was doing, a C theme for caring and creativity. So, again, I don't know why my brain is like this. Okay, so there are a couple of examples of full pages set up from y'all. If one of these belongs to you, thank you for posting in Sonder Club. You can see how folks, there's a how do I want to feel? There's a more and a less. We always love that duality. Also a C theme with creative, capable, and carefree has their to-do list there. I'm talking about this one on the left. And then, their habits and activities for the week, the one over there. On the right, we've got the beautiful 3 goals, the doodle, that's so the cozy and warm, the doodle, but those 3 goals and then the to-dos directly link to each one of those goals. So love that. And then there are things there that are down at the bottom. And I love that, look at that first habit. It's a morning journal check-in. So a check-in to make sure you're checking in, right? That you're checking the monthly habit tracker or your mood tracker, all the things that you've set up. So let's start with thinking about, oh, thank you, Gloria. Thank you for posting that. This week I want to feel, okay, so I already said I want to feel vitality. So what do you want to feel? What do you want this week to bring you? Drop that in the chat. Your word may inspire somebody else. And I've got a little word cloud here for you to look at. You can use one word, several words, a phrase, a quote, affirmations, something that makes you feel vitality, maybe one of the synonyms for vitality. Drop that in the chat. How do you want to feel this week? And then we're going to take that feeling into setting up our goals. And remember, goals are those things that are measurable, that are tied to, a timeline. They are relevant, they're attainable. We're going to set ourselves up for success. They're very different from what an idea of an intention is. An intention is kind of that feeling, that thought out there. And now this is how we get there through our goals. And please keep reading that chat because there's some fabulous words coming through. So then we ask, how will our goals support the way we want to feel this week? What is your why? Ask yourself that. What is your why? Here's some great examples for y'all. And I love the one this week, I want to feel on track. And they did, SMTW, and it's that little daily check-in. Look, they've just done a little mark through there. Just that's that self-accountability. So you can have, again, more than one word if that's what's working for you. I'll go back and forth through these slides while you work on this page. The one that's there on the left, look how those three things that they really want to be intentional with, journaling, praying, and going outside, and then they've made little checklists so that they've got that daily accountability. They're using the theme of celebrate there in the middle. And then I love the quote that's written around the three major goals for the one on the right. Just that good reminder. Here's some, these are a little bit older. I pulled these two on the left from an older slide deck. But again, it's about tying in your goals with your to-dos. And then always like this one up on the top because look, three things I am proud of. And it's just a blank space to go back and do that reflection and be proud of yourself. Okay, so let's keep going. You can repurpose that. You don't have to have three goals. If you want to do, like I had to reset my rhythms and routines, so I did a good morning routine. That's the example of my good morning routine. This was a few months ago. And then my shopping list was my good night routine because I just kind of gotten out of sync and I needed to snap back in. But there's a lot of ways you can repurpose this space. It doesn't have to be your goals. And then we're going to take a look at the to-dos and then just a shout out with the to-dos. That little, this is a March calendar from a couple of years ago, but I brought it back because this is that little calendar that's up on the upper left part of your weekly spread. And maybe you hadn't ever thought about using it to highlight some dates during the week that will just kind of, bring that attention to your eye. So I wanted to do that so you could see maybe a way to use that little calendar. It might, be effective for you. This to-do list can be a to-do list. It can be separated into different areas of your life. You can use stickers, you can use words, lots of different ideas for doing your to-do list. But this is the one we always default to, this Eisenhower matrix, because it helps you really get clarification on what's important all the way down to what can be deleted or donated or delayed. And so it's a good thing, take your big old list and plug it into the appropriate box. Is it not important but urgent? Well, is there a way to delegate that? You need groceries in your pantry and you don't have a lot of time. Well, how can you delegate that? Maybe that's an online grocery order. So, just kind of think about that. All righty. And then some repurposing, if you don't want a straight out to-do list, you could do a to-do list and celebrate. I usually do that. I like the blank list and then go back and write the things I did do that were other than what's on the to-do list. Also a to-be list, and think about that mind frame of that self-care. We did that rosebud thorn reflection. When you looked at those thorns, I hope you kind of made a connection with when I'm feeling sad about something, I can go to that self-care menu, right? And take something that will fill me up a little bit. Maybe a to don't list. Are you trying to cut some things out? And then finally, I want to drop down to that bottom section, and then I'm going to let you work on this whole page, this habit and activity tracker. And I included this graphic with the monthly setup because so often we're changing those habits up, and I try to remind you to leave those habits, take them over from week to week to week to week. Maybe have them in two spaces. Maybe your monthly habit wheel, some of those habits are showing up in this weekly so that you're really reinforcing that in your brain. Um, Habits can take a minimum of 3 weeks, so 21 days for something that's not too hard to do. The things that are really hard to do, 8 months until they're locked in. I think that's where I am with making my nutritional food choices, right? I'm kind of, I keep restarting and restarting. So just give yourself that reminder that you should be seeing some of these habits from week to week to week and month to month to month. So that you can get those locked in. And then here's the graphic of these two different habit trackers, what they look like. And again, we are looking at this weekly one a little bit differently from the monthly habit tracker because the weekly one allows for you to put into place the things that may be unique to that week, right? Maybe you have 3 doctor's appointments, and so you're going to put that activity of doctor appointment and circle those days. But many times we may see habits in both of these places again for that trigger. Also, a reminder, break those habits down into tinier steps if you're struggling. Personally, I was trying to get back to my 100 grams of protein a day. So I put that on my habit tracker last month, and I was going to do my macros, track those, and write them in the habit tracker. And I looked at that habit tracker, and it is mostly blank. And so that gives me a piece of information. I have some data that was not the right kind of habit to track. I need to break that down even smaller. So this month it is going to be about getting 35 of my protein macros in the morning because I do like protein in my coffee, and I always have a high protein breakfast, and I'm going to just conquer that part of the day. And then maybe next month I'll add in lunch and up my number. But I was not successful in meeting the whole day. It was just too much because I've made some bad. I got to break some habits rather than make some habits. So never underestimate that. And then here's just some great examples of how folks have set themselves up for the week. I love the idea over there on the right of doing a range for a goal. You don't have to do a goal at all, but a range is kind of a gentle way of seeing if you can challenge yourself. Look at the one on the middle in the left. They're tracking 2 things in this tracker, setting themselves up for success. The one below that, all the days that these things are going to happen have been circled again as that visual reminder. Or you could do like the one up at the upper left where they've written not applicable, setting out clothes and the items at night so you're ready in the morning. Well, it's not applicable on Friday night and Saturday night because it's the weekend. So, make this little tracker area work for you. Here's a couple of these are older examples. I was inspired by the veggies and fruit. I do this same kind of tracking, but I do it in my mind, body, health space. But this was actually the slide that encouraged me to do that. And again, you can set goals or you can put a sticker over the word goal, like you see the one there on the bottom left. So I've got some habits and activity inspiration if you're wanting to try to add something. And I'm going to stop talking and you're going to work on this page, and then we're going to come back and talk about the side B of our record album tonight. great job. I know you might be finishing this page up. No worries. Continue to work. But I'm going to go ahead and move forward into our next section so we can make sure we have plenty of time, as our wonderful Katie loves to call this page, the B side. So I'm doing something a little different tonight. I want to show you complete pages to look at. And then I have a lot of inspiration for how you might set up, a couple of these areas that might be repurposed, right? So you're always invited to use these spaces just as they are, but I have a lot of ideas for you to repurpose it, or to grab onto something that really fits in your life. Maybe your mind body health plan this week will include some of that self-care that you visited when we were looking at vitality at the front end of our time together. This is not an exhaustive list, lots of different ideas. These are things that I've seen y'all do and post in Sonder Club. So you might want to grab just a picture of that or a screenshot of that. This is also being recorded. So it'll be posted, Monday. But this is just some other ideas that you can embrace for any of these spaces. If you play Wordle, maybe your Wordle word goes in one of the spaces on this page every day, so you can celebrate that win. Mini bingo boards, cleaning charts, all that good stuff. So let's take a look at some pages. These are from y'all, and you can just see how folks are setting this up. One person is using the meal plan space for priorities of the day. So every day the big ones go up there. The person over to the right is using a week at a glance, kind of, so that in one place, all those things are like saying, hello, don't forget about me. The Mind Body Health looks a little bit different. Both of them have chosen to use the shopping list as a bingo, just a little mini bingo, 6 items to care for yourself, just like what I said we worked on earlier. Love the idea of the reflection of what I did well. That's a real old one that I came back across. And how did I fill my cup? And then quotes of the day. Again, maybe using your meal plan for the daily affirmations. It's springtime. Here's somebody leaning into their plant care. You could bring your intentions over to this page, and we've got the actual meal tracker the meal plan is being used as a meal tracker. So as they're eating and drinking, that's going on there. I love the Mind Body Health plan of the one on the left because it's just a bunch of little ideas. So when you see it, you can choose from it. The self-care bingo there. And then mine for this week is right there. And I'm actually going to embrace one of the examples I'm going to show you. And I'm going to do it through the month. So my meal plan is going to be my spring cleaning plan. And I'll show you that graphic in just a minute, how I came up with those things from there. I eat the rainbow, so I'm tracking the individual kinds of fruits and vegetables. I don't track the amounts, but when I eat an apple, the word apple goes on there. If I eat strawberries, strawberries go on there. And I just try to aim for a lot. When I first did it, I ate like 9 different things in a week. When I started writing it down, I got up to like 21 different things. So that writing had a lot of power to it. And then it's garden time, and I'm a gardener, so that's what my shopping list is doing this week. It's holding my bingo board for all my garden tasks. And then of course I am loving saying goodbye to wintering and welcoming the spring. So let me show you some inspiration that could fit in any of these spaces. You could do alliteration days, which is just always fun. Kind of just makes the day a little happier, a little more playful. Kimberly, you could do some alliteration. Here are ways we can celebrate this week. These are those national days of. And then we have daylight savings time in a week. Well, next Sunday or next Saturday, mid Sunday morning, Saturday night when you go to bed, we are springing ahead. And so we get that extra hour. So I put this slide in there so you can kind of maybe prep your body a little bit for that time change. Losing that hour is a little tricky, but we do get more daylight outside. So those are some tips you might want to incorporate in there. This is a work-life challenge, but you could take any of these things and use them in your life. So like Monday, there's, the things that we want to do as a team, Tuesday, Wednesday, but also you could just do them yourself. I'll go back and forth between these while you're working on them. Perhaps one of these spaces becomes your self-esteem journal, so you have a little mini prompt. I love the daily habits that will change your life, and it's 1 through 10 things to choose from. There is the spring cleaning challenge. So I will be using this graphic to set up my meal plan space with something to clean every day this week. I was inspired by that. Perhaps you would be inspired by doing a photo challenge. If you're in Texas, number 2 needs to be changed. We don't have many mountains, we do have hills. But, maybe just to bring some fun and frivolity to your life. That's another playful activity, Kimberly. Maybe making a song list, playlist, maybe doing a photo challenge or a doodle a day. Because I am a huge reader and I just think that books are super duper important. Here's a couple of ways you could embrace reading for the month. Um, if that's speaking to you, take that on as a challenge. Here is spring self-care, a whole list of things you can do to love on yourself or how to fill your cup. And let's see. Yep. And then the final one is a week of gratitude. I'm going to stop talking and put on some music and go back through these slides so you can either grab a screenshot or take a picture or decide if you're going to use one of those things in your journal this week. right. These Sonder hours are different kinds of hours, aren't they? It goes by so quickly. Just as a reminder, we've recorded this. Also, I'll be doing a setup Monday morning. So there's probably going to be two um, of these social setups with this slide deck, and then Katie will have some wonderful stuff for us tomorrow evening. So you'll have a chance to get it if you didn't grab something. As I'm saying goodbye to you, I'm going to show you some spreads of that weekly spread. Sonder family, we are always so honored to just hang out with you. You could be doing a million other things, but you are committing to your self-care journey and to this beautiful tool that helps us become the best versions that we can be. So thank you for spending time with Team Texas tonight. We would love, love, love to see you post something. Maybe you're trying something different and let us know. Like, I'm trying this in my journal this week, because we would love to see that, and then maybe you'll see your example on one of our slide decks at some point. So share in Sonder Club, and then I want to finish off with this one. Finish each day and be done with it. You have done what you could do. Some blunders and absurdities no doubt crept in. Forget them as soon as you can. Tomorrow is a new day. You shall begin it serenely and with too high a spirit to be encumbered by your old nonsense. So, welcome in March. Make it your best month ever. And we're just going to have so much fun digging into the idea of being vital with one another. Thanks for coming, Sonder family.
Like the sun when it comes up from the city, from the rooftops. 'Cause today's gonna be my day. I just wanna climb to the top of a mountain, standing tall when I'm howling. 'Cause today's gonna be my day. It's gonna be my day. Good night stress, see you in the morning. I don't gotta guess, you're always there for me. Sowing them seeds of doubt. I think you like seeing me freak out. Good night stress, see you in the morning. So I wake up, I get out of bed, stay up, stay out of my head 'cause it's dangerous. And I don't wanna lose my mind.